Come on, let's go. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Wild Card. It's Khalil here with Kendal. Thank you for tuning in this episode. We are going to talk about some Bama State football right after this.
Last time that I checked, it was 5 chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, it was in the set. Make $250,000, no sweat. Last time that I checked, I'm the streets voice out west. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first the money, the respect, and the power come next. Last time that I checked, I've been self-made from the dribble. I was been saying I'm a
Okay, I was feeling the music a little bit more. I was feeling.
Oh, bro, so was I. You wasn't the only one.
Hey, Kendal, man, it's been amazing. We talk about some Bama State football, bro. What's the swag in the fool?
Swag in the fool. What's up with y'all?
We got to collab with y'all this summer, by the way.
Exciting times, man. Exciting times. Football season. It feel like it's coming up quick, man.
100 days away. 100 days away.
Crazy, bro. What we got? Southern first game of the season?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, bet.
Miles, I can't remember. Either way, we know we got a game to play. It's going to be competitive regardless of the issue.
For sure, man. Well, let's not waste no time. Let's get into it. What you want to start up with, man?
Man, Kendal. First of all, you said you want to talk about a quick review of the season, because I don't think we ever got an opportunity to really talk about how the season ended. We know the expectations were low for this team, based off the fact we had a first-year head coach, a lot of new pieces, new moving parts everywhere. So we didn't really have an expectation for this team. I think, what was your record prediction, like 4-6 or like 5-6, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. It was either one game below, either tied or
But it wasn't a winning record at all.
Oh yeah, no. Mm-mm.
And I think mine was like 8-3 or something like that, which they could have gotten, to be fair. I think they gave us some great moments. They were a couple games away from being in the SWAC championship, in my opinion. Couple made field goals, couple better offensive play calls, and you're sitting in the SWAC championship, or at least sitting number 2 in the SWAC East.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot in depth about offensive issues. Some defensive collapses at the end of the games, at the end of some of the games. We do have some videos that we're breaking down today, so we can definitely get into that and really kind of get into the nitty gritty of exactly why this team wasn't as successful as they could be, and what they can improve on as far as coming up.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Kendal, overall, real quick though, what would you grade last season as a whole for the team? Take out coaching, but their play on the field.
I would either go B minus.
Yeah.
C plus. Yeah. Reason why I say that is because they lost a lot of games that they could have won. We said a theme from last year was we beat ourselves. I think we said that a good amount of times. I don't think that we outright got beat in some of those games that we lost that ended up being losses in the record. But I still think that this team can be better. I think that they could be better last year, and I feel like we would be kind of sitting here talking about a different team, or at least different standings. So I think this team they have the potential, but you can only talk about potential for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. Reminds us of the Boston Celtics. Potential. That's neither here nor there. That's a petty Laker fan than me. Anyways, yeah, I'm right in the same realm as you, B minus, considering the expectation of a first-year coach. Mm-hmm. I think that they definitely, like you said, could have been in the SWAC championship. And yeah, so without further ado, Kendal, do you want to talk about your first couple points first? Your moving pieces, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first because I got a video to go along with your offensive stuff. So yeah, you can go first.
Okay. All right. So first off, y'all, I want to talk about the offensive improvement. The offense is the biggest storyline in this team. It's been that way for the last, according to ASU alums, 20 years. They've never had an offense since Tavares Jackson. And we know the defense has been great. The defense will forever be great. I mean, obviously, Kendall's going to talk about some of the losses that we had defensively later. But let's get into it. Show? Okay. So, Kendall, these are my 3 keys to success for this year's Hornets team. I think we have to establish an offensive identity. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot of times last year I didn't know if we wanted to be a run first team or we wanted to be a pass first team. And I feel like having us getting a balance would be great for us. Either are we gonna let Dee really cook from the pocket, or are we gonna let him be more RPO kind of guy? Personally, I think this goes to my next point. Run, Dee, run. Run. I want to say run DMC, but he don't have no MC in his name, so is what it is. Not the point. But I think that Demetrius has to become a runner. I think that last year we tried to use him like a pocket passer, and for one, we don't have the receivers do that, and two, he's not as accurate enough to be a pocket passer in my opinion. I think he's better on the move, and if we can create him, if we can establish him as okay, he's going to be running, he's going to be in the perimeter. He's going to be coming downhill at you. Then it opens up passing lanes like it did for a guy like Lamar Jackson. I don't like to compare African-American quarterbacks to, the stereotypical, kind of guys. But at the same time, I think that
their play style is similar, though. I don't think this is a bad comparison.
Yeah, it's very similar. I don't think he's as quick as Lamar Jackson, but he definitely has, he's shifty. He can get in the lanes. He can create. He's a playmaker. He's a very good playmaker. But also this leads to my next point. More short yardage plays. Kendall, that's something that you really emphasize during the season is short yardage plays. There were too many times when we had receivers going down the field and we just don't have the offensive line for that. Offensive line is not talented enough to hold up for that long. And we also don't have the speed at the receiver position that can really break that hole, in my opinion. So those are my 3 keys. Kendall, what you think about that?
I mean, I agree. I feel like, establishing an identity is important, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You want to, I think every iteration of this team that I've seen, they want to be a run, run first team, or at least they want to have a good run game. Sometimes they're not always able to do that, but I think the passing game is always looked at as a compliment, not necessarily as the number one option. So I feel like establishing an identity is very important. You talked about Dee running. I think Dee, one of the things that really shined for me looking at him in situations like at the Howard game, his first game, his most healthiest game, he was very quick to run, but he wasn't indecisive. He was very decisive. He knew exactly where he wanted to go, and he pushes down the field every time for the most part. So running is very important, I think. And it also makes your offense, multi-dimensional instead of just one-dimensional. And then short yardage plays, like you said, we talked about that a lot already. They thrive off of short yardage plays because of the way that their offense is constructed, but also the way that their offensive line is constructed as well. Some of the struggles that they've had. Now, I think right now would be a great time for me to kind of go to my video, if you don't mind.
Real quick, comment section. We will get to the comments at the end of the show. So keep them rolling, but we will get to them. Go ahead.
Questions too. Make sure you guys know any questions you guys want us to answer too. All right. So let me 1 second to share my camera. Okay. So I have a couple of
so proud of you, man.
I appreciate you. I got a couple of plays that I kind of want to break down a little bit. So I'll let you guys watch the full thing first, and then I'll break them down kind of play by play. So this first one, real quick, they are currently in 11 personnel. The first digit, so just to tell you guys, the first digit of whatever personnel number I say is for the running backs, and the second is going to be for tight ends. So 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, tight ends on the left side. And then they have doubles to the right. So as you can see, this play basically gets blown up right away. One of the things that I really wanted to focus on was the running back here. I believe this is Ja'Cory Merritt, but basically,
It is.
if you guys, yeah, okay. So basically, you see this. This is the hole right here. The hole is right here. But unfortunately, he can't get to the hole because we have a double pull here. So your first lineman, he engages right here, and then you have another lineman coming up to get this end over here. Ja'Cory goes to the left instead. He should have went to the right. If he goes to the right, this is a hole right here. Now it's really just.
Is
I
it
mean,
real Kendall? Because this guy right, this you see this guy at the 40-yard line?
this one or this one?
Go back to the original one. Him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about him?
But isn't it? Wouldn't you say that he missed his block as well on his assignment?
I think he engaged. With this is a very quick thing. So I think he engaged him. He's coming from the right side of the line. So I'm looking at that. Okay, you're engaging. At the very least, actually, excuse me.
He didn't engage.
Yeah, he would.
He didn't do anything.
But I feel like if Ja'Cory hits his hole quick enough, he has a one-on-one with this guy right here. But because he hesitated before he got to the line of scrimmage, he kind of got caught. That's on the running back and the lineman, in my opinion. But I feel like that could have been positive yardage instead of, I believe it was no gain. So next play up, we got Jackson State. They did a great job of blitzing, which is one of the things that I think we struggle with the most, picking up blitz packages. We have doubles to the left, 11 personnel. We have 20 personnel. We have a fullback and we have a running back. So as you guys can see, the blitz comes from the safety at the top, and basically we get blown up in the backfield. So one of the things that I really wanted to pay attention to was the lack of picking up a blitz coverage. So this safety comes from the top. He comes down. Tackle or guard goes to the left. Tackle goes to the right. Guard or tackle goes to the left as well. Tackle completely misses his block. Fullback, well, that's actually not his block. I don't believe, if I'm looking at the scheme correctly, I don't believe that's his block. The fullback comes to wash down whoever comes over. He goes to the farthest man. Now, originally or usually, at least from my experience playing football, you're taught to go to the nearest man first. Now, like I said, the fullback's responsibility is supposed to wash whoever is coming off the edge. But this blitzer comes through. This is a blitz pickup regardless. So they're supposed to pick up that blitz. They didn't pick up the blitz, and obviously you saw they made a great Jackson State made a great play in the backfield. Again, another Jackson State play. Blitz, like I said before, they do a very good job with their blitz, and we do a very bad job at blitz pickup most of the time. So with this play,
it's actually the play that Dee got hurt on. They ended up having surgery.
So not only are you seeing running backs taking unnecessary hits, but you're also seeing your quarterback take unnecessary hits. This again is 20 personnel. We have doubles to the left. So they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got five guys coming, and then they also have a blitzer.
Oh Lord!
So no push at all. But this is also a pass rush. So you see one guy came basically scot-free, and then the running back doesn't do a good job at picking up his block either. If you don't have pass protection, you're not going to be successful in the pass game. And I think our pass game definitely suffered from that. We got UAPB. Now, in my opinion, this is just a bad decision on DD's part. I feel like the offensive line, they held up enough. They gave him a clean enough pocket for him to do something. So we have trips. We have trips to the right. And this is 11 personnel. So one tight end in here as well. We got 11 personnel. Another guy beat off.
Also could have been a rolling, in my opinion.
You said what?
I think he also could have ran his ball to the outside.
Absolutely.
One.
But the one thing I do want to put into perspective is he does have a progression he has to go through. Obviously, he doesn't have anybody on the left side of the field. So, like I said before, you have trips at the bottom of the field. So those at some point, those are going to be his progressions. And then you have your running back squeezing out the backfield. Okay. And I'm guessing, I don't know his progressions specifically for this play, but I'm guessing he went through all of his progressions over here to the right side of the field. Ja'Cory, the running back, comes squeezing out towards the left. And honestly, Ja'Cory
late.
It's a late throw for sure. But
I'm saying Ja'Cory's route was late because I roll it back just a tad bit. It seemed like Ja'Cory was kind of didn't know where he was supposed to go. Like you see him with his hands up, like kind of indecisive. Watch him right here. He's running through here, and then I'm like, you have to get into your route after that. Once you see.
One thing I do want to point out with this play design, I believe Ja'Cory is supposed to stop right here.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why his route was delayed is because it's supposed to be a fake, or it's supposed to delay the defense as far as them covering it. So I believe he's supposed to stop right here. It's about a 4 or 5 yard route. It's not that long of a route at all. But I think Dee got him the ball late, and I think Ja'Cory also drifted. Because if he's supposed to be right here, why is he right here? So he drifted. Dee makes a throw. Not a great decision, and obviously it results in a pick. So with this play, it's again 20 personnel, and two a receiver on each side. Okay, so now we're getting into the the better parts of this offense where I feel like they shine. So this first play, great hole, great job hitting the hole by the running back. So tackle does a great job of washing this end down. He does a great job.
Shout out to Ray Curry.
Absolutely. This was a great job. So he washes his tackle down. That means Dylan Creech, the fullback, he only has one job, and that's to kick out this end right here. He kicks him out. Ja'Cory hits the hole. Boom, he's gone. Like that's a great run blocking, and that's also a great play design for a first down or for 1st and 10.
And he got a couple big gains within that game right there. They did a pretty good job blocking in that preview game. That was Ja'Cory's best game of the season.
And you can see why. With blocking like that and with the way that they were working together, they did a great job at that. So this is, I believe, 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, two running backs, a receiver on the side against Alabama A&M. So with this play, now I'm going to point this out consistently. We need to run the ball in the direction of Dylan Creech every time. Dylan Creech does a phenomenal job at his position as a fullback. He does a phenomenal job of kicking people out and making holes. He does a phenomenal job at that. So he comes down, he gets the last dude on the line, and Ja'Cory powers the ball in for the touchdown. Great job on Dylan's part. That play breaks up if not for Dylan making that block. And Ja'Cory possibly bounces it back inside, and which doesn't result in a touchdown most likely. So you talked about quick plays, quick tempo plays. I think that's something that we excel at as an offense. I feel like that's where we're best at. So with a play like this, I believe, let me see. Okay, so with a play like this, this is 30 personnel. You have a fullback, and I'm guessing this is a tight end that came off the line. But regardless, you have 3 backs in the backfield. But all of this is pretty much smoke and mirrors. These plays are this play in particular is designed for one of these wide receivers to beat their man off the line. Jeremiah Hickson, our best wide receiver from last year, he did a phenomenal job on this. He gave him one move and he was gone. One move, gone. Touchdown. That's exactly what you want from a go route. It's quick, it's fast, it's a tempo that I think we work best with, and I feel like we need to do more of that because we're really good when it comes to that. And this is the last play. Again, it's a quick pass. It's not a long pass at all, but it results in a touchdown. They are in I believe this is 21 personnel, two backs, one tight end. On the right, we have doubles to the left. And then look at this route combination. This route combination it was a great job against his coverage. Route combination, boom, he was wide open, and it was great play design for that type of defense. So
Great job, man.
Appreciate it. So going on to what your notes were as far as what the offense needs to do to be better. Establishing an identity. I believe, like I said before, they work so much better when they have quick tempo. They work a lot better when their passes are short. Their short pass game is what I think is probably the best part of their pass offense. You know, when they get the ball out, their receivers get to do whatever they can to get some yardage. I feel like they're great at that. And the line, I think one of the biggest things that the offensive line can improve on is blitz pickup, but also knowing your assignments. I don't think I pointed it out in that video, but in one of the videos on one of the clips against A&M, they shifted the line. Shifts for our offensive line hurt us a lot last year because it messes up your assignments consistently. And if you're not communicating, which I didn't think that they did a great job of, it leads to a lot of leakage as far as guys just getting past you. Blitz pickup is the same way. So I feel like they definitely need to improve on that. And like you said, Dee, I think he needs to stay dynamic. You know, one of the biggest things that he does well is run the ball. He does a great job at it. And I feel like he makes the offense multidimensional, which is what they need as well. That's why you have a guy like that as your starting quarterback.
Well, I also think having Levante Chenault available to him next year is going to be a big help. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, he comes back into camp healthy, and is explosive off that knee. We know how it can be coming back off of knee injuries like that, especially with the lateral quickness. Is it going to be there immediately? Is he going to be able to have that same cut, that same pop? I don't necessarily. We didn't really get to see a full sample size of what kind of receiver Levante is, whether it's a possession receiver, a deep threat. He kind of did everything. I don't think we had a set kind of, prototype for what he is. I think we knew more Jeremiah Hickson was number one guy. He best hands in the team, and that's what it's going to be. But we're really going to rely on Levante Chenault and Keyshawn Johnson to take that next step this year. There's no way that we're going to be successful if those two don't take the next step. The only way they take the next step is if the offense, like you showed on that last clip, if the route combinations are effective, because they have a lot of situations where the routes are just not. They're running the routes correctly, but it's not doing anything. It's not causing any confusion in the secondary. It's very simplistic and very easy to guard.
It can also take a long time too.
A long time to develop, yeah. Because you got time. Go ahead.
One of the things that I think Dee can struggle with sometimes is long route progressions. If your route takes 5 seconds or at least 4 seconds to run, and your pocket isn't that safe, you're gonna struggle because you're gonna be rushing. You're gonna be making a lot of different decisions that you might not make under pressure. So I think their route combination is important, but also how long their routes are taking as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you also, one thing you mentioned, I guess I'll give you the props for it now. you got to find a way to get these tight ends involved. Jalen Lay cannot just be out there at 6'6", 200 and north of 250 pounds and just be out there as a statue. Either you're going to use him as a pass catcher or I'm going to use him as a blocker. Your offensive line is, and I wanted to add this to my list, your offensive line is too weak not to be using everybody on the field as a blocker. Even Demetrius should be blocking them some plays. The running backs, as we saw, Ja'Cory isn't the greatest run blocker or pass blocker, I should say. And our offensive line is what it is. So you got to get some extra help in there. There was one play, if y'all go look at Dylan Creech's Instagram, we'll try to pull it up maybe sometime or repost it at some point on our Twitter. There was a play when Dylan came in and broke the whole defense up because he ran a route to block. It wasn't a route to go catch a pass. He ran a route to block. So doing things like that, getting them involved, it would be a lot more effective than just having them out there as statues.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things that's a little weird to me is that usually when you have short passing games, you utilize your tight end a lot more. Now granted, what you just said, when your offensive line maybe not be the strongest part of your team, you need to fortify that, which is why you'll see some, and I pointed out some of them, but they have a lot more examples of a 12 personnel or 22 personnel with two tight ends with one on either side of the line of scrimmage or either side of the ball. And I feel like it helps them a lot more as far as running and making a consistent effort to make sure that you're filling out all of your blocking assignments.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're straight. But then you also have to worry about utilizing them in the passing game, which I feel like they struggle with as well. So I think it's real interesting that you said that.
Yeah, so that's just our analysis. Kendall, let's move to the defense side of the ball. You got some names you want to mention. Obviously, the defense was by far the strongest part of this team. I fully want to say, and this is no shade any Jackson State fans, we're not doing this today, but Colton Adams should have been the defensive player of the year in the SWAC. Mm-hmm. Argue with the commissioner, argue with the fans. Colton Bubba Adams was the best defensive player in the SWAC this year. I don't care what anybody says. Mm-hmm. I agree. That's my case.
I agree. Speaking of, best defensive players in the SWAC, I think we lost two very great players on the defensive side of the ball for our team, but also for the SWAC as a whole. And Keenan Isaac and Ershad Davis. So, I mean, you think about Keenan, his ability. We had been talking about his ability all year as a NFL caliber cornerback, and then Ershad Davis, a dog at the strong safety position. They both, and they also played special teams as well, and they had pretty productive.
Keenan was great on special teams.
Exactly. They had pretty productive seasons on special teams. So you think about losing both of these guys. These are guys that had a lot of impact on the defensive side of the ball. Like you said, it was our best side of the ball, and us not having these guys anymore is going to test us. I really do believe that we're going to have to make a consistent effort to fill those positions, because even if you look at the stats, these are two very talented individuals. I mean, regardless of what you want to say about how they may be on a particular play, these were our dogs. These were guys that we depended on a lot. Tackles. One of the things that they both do very well, but Ershad, I feel like, is one of the best at, is coming downhill. You saw a lot of the plays that he made was coming downhill, fending off blockers and getting to the ball. His nose was always around the ball. Keenan Isaac, a ball hawk. He was always around the ball as well, but he also was great in man coverage and in zone coverage. He was a coverage specialist, and he did a great job with that as well. I don't think he ever got the amount of credit that he should have from outside sources. I mean, we loved him here at ASU, but I don't think he got a lot of credit from outside sources. But I mean, these are two guys that I really do believe that we're going to miss a lot. Now, I do have confidence in our DB room. Chauncey, but those are two guys that we're really going to miss.
Chauncey, Moore.
Bro, we got Chauncey, we got Kel Jackson, we got Adrian Maddox. We have Michael Victor. We have guys that stepped up last season with those guys there. So now the expectation is just higher for those guys.
Not to mention the fact that Coach Robinson went heavy on DB recruiting this year.
And I mean, that's kind of what you got to do. I mean, those are guys that you really need to replace. Those are guys that are integral parts of your team. Now that they're gone, you definitely got to replace them for sure.
Now, Kendall, I want to talk about this as well, and I'm gonna put this in the timestamp too. One, and we didn't schedule ourselves to talk about this. One of the things I wanted to mention was, as fans, we get caught up in how many players are leaving in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that's inevitable nowadays, just due to the reality of college football. It happens to Nick Saban. It happens to Kirby Smart. We even see it happening to Dion in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. Players, with NIL being included in the thing and, better opportunity, it's just something that you can't avoid. So for us to see, Jacory leave, Jeremiah leave, Urshad, and, some names who I didn't even mention, it's not something that y'all should be concerned about. Because at the end of the day, and it's like Kendall mentioned on the defense side of the ball, we have guys that can replace, Urshad. I'm not saying they're going to be as great individually as him, but as a collective, they can replace him. And on the offense side of the ball, I don't know if we can replace Jeremiah. That's a whole different story. But I just want fans to be accepting of the fact that the transfer portal is something that's just here to stay. You're always going to lose something, but you're always going to gain something too. Give it and take it.
Definitely. I mean, that's part of the game now. That's part of college sports in general.
Professional too, with trades and free agency, it just happens.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the measure of a coaching staff, the measure of a program isn't how many players you lose in the transfer portal. It's how you rebuild, how you replace those players, and what the end product is. I think that's the biggest thing that people should focus on.
Yeah, but do you think that we did? Like I've asked Coach Robinson this before, and I want to know your opinion. Are you more, if you're a head coach, and I may have asked this before actually, are you more focused on the fact of developing high school players and recruiting those 5 stars or 4 stars that are in the high school portal, or are you focused on getting those transfer portal guys from the big FCS schools or FBS schools? How are you approaching it?
I think in a perfect world you want to balance, because if you think about it, you have dogs that are coming in as far as the transfer portal, and then you also have great, highly recruited high school players. That gives them time to develop. That also gives them players to learn from as well. And I think that's a very important part of college sports as well. So, but I feel like if I had to choose, I would probably say transfer portal, just for the sake of, I think you get more bang for your buck. You get guys that are ready. Yeah. Instead of having guys that you may have to develop. Now, I'm definitely not putting it past anybody on this team to have breakout years as freshmen, to have impactful years as freshmen, because we saw Adrian Maddox do it. I wholeheartedly believe that we have players on this team that can do it. Now, it's just, that's more of a gamble, I think, and I think everybody will
it's
admit
rare.
that.
It's very
I don't think that those type of seasons come around very often, and I feel like you need to have more. If you really want to contend and you want to kind of go up to that other level, I feel like transfer portal guys are where it's at. But like I said, if in a perfect world, I would like to have a balance personally.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree. And that's kind of a, Coach Robinson leaned toward, I want to say he was saying more high school players. Mm-hmm. And he said the one thing we do is we don't recruit players that, have 5 stars or 4 stars. We recruit guys that fit our system. Whether that, with Chauncey last year, Chauncey was a guy who came from Temple, and he's not going to be this highly touted transfer player like a Travis Hunter. He's not going to be that big of a name, but he fits what they're trying to do. That's the biggest thing Coach Robinson says. He wants guys that fit the system, and you had a guy like Adrian Maddox, like you said, who fit perfectly within what they wanted to do last year. I think that's important.
And I think overall, a culture, especially I think, keeping in the perspective, this is a second-year coach. Coach Robinson is coming in his second year. You're still trying to establish a culture. You're still trying to maintain a culture. I think getting guys that are going to fit that culture is more important than having the most talented team. Because even if you have the most talented team, you don't want to lose your way, lose who you are as a program, lose who you are as individuals in the process. So I definitely feel like culture is a big focus for Coach Robinson, and I definitely respect that. Um,
He got to
and I,
establish. I don't think we have an identity right now
yeah,
within that program.
and you were talking about establishing an identity on offense. I feel like establishing an identity for the whole team is important as well. Because we can't always be the okay, our defense is going to do this, our offense is going to do that type of team. I feel like we kind of got to get some consistency in who we are as in entirety as a team, not just different sides of the ball.
Yeah. Now we would be remiss to not talk about the transfer of Jordan Simpson when he came in and his departure. Don't know the specifics of it, so don't we can't give you an answer about that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're consistently seeing them try to make this get Demetrius a competitor in the quarterback room,
Mm-hmm.
or even his replacement potentially. How do you feel about that? And fans, y'all can answer as well.
I mean, it's college sports. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business. And
Now more
it's
than
money
ever.
involved. What'd you say?
I say now more than ever.
Oh yeah, it's money involved in everything. Players and coaches alike are it's a lot of money being involved with that. So, I think everything that I've seen from DD, every time that I've heard him talk, he's a competitor. I think a lot of people misjudge him sometimes because of his quiet demeanor, because of his, standoffish demeanor sometimes. But I think at the end of the day, seeing him in the game, he's a competitor at heart. And I feel like as a competitor, you want more competition because I feel like it pushes you to be better. But obviously, like I said, as a business, he does have some injury concerns. I personally think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to have a better year as far as being on the field. But injury concerns are injury concerns, and you have to fill whoever you can to make that not a concern anymore. With Miles Crawley gone, you definitely have to put somebody in there that I think is just as capable or more capable than him.
Now
Now
don't
we'll
sleep
see.
on Nike Willett either. He had
I,
a really good spring game.
I
He
was
looked
just
really
about to
good.
say that. We'll see what Nyquil has and the rest of the quarterbacks in the quarterback room. But I can't blame a program or a coach for recruiting other quarterbacks to get in there and see what they got.
I don't believe you've had the opportunity to watch much of them, and neither have I. But he is a transfer from UAB. For all of y'all who don't know, I heard he's 6'1", a little bit small. Well, bigger than Demetrius,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously. But he's supposed to be a great scrambler, great mobile, pretty good mobile quarterback. Hopefully, we can get some film from him. I mean, but that is what it is.
I think we're recognizing what kind of quarterback Coach Robinson likes. I think
Mobile, dual threat.
that's the archetype that he's a big fan of.
Yeah, but still having some accuracy in the arm, like having a big
Mm-hmm.
arm. I think that. Would you consider Demetrius to have a strong arm, Kendall?
I think he has a. I've
Is
seen
he
him
stronger
go.
than Miles?
Huh?
Is he stronger than Miles?
I don't think so. I feel like Miles could air it out a little bit better. I
More
think
accurate.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say accuracy is something that I feel like both of them can improve on. I feel like Dee especially could improve on his accuracy, his decision making as a whole. But I think that's what happens when you have a younger quarterback.
In a bad old line.
That too, your progressions and everything is sped up more because you have to get the ball out. So I think accuracy is definitely something that I definitely believe he can improve on. As far as your original question about the big arm, not really sure.
Mm. Damon Stewart. Did I say his name right, Kendall?
I don't know if you said his name. I don't know if you said his name before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Damon Stewart, y'all. Damon Stewart, yes. But Kendall, you got anything else specific you want to talk about before we get into these comments?
Not at the moment. I guess, as far as asking questions to the comments. What are your guys' biggest areas of need going into this season? What is your biggest red flags? And I guess what are you expecting to see from this team?
What would you say are the biggest red flags from this team, Kendall?
Um, I would say maybe the O line. Um, Not necessarily their play, but just how they're addressing it. I know we do have a couple of guys that we've gotten back or that we've gotten on the team, but for what the spring game is, I'm not putting too much stock into it. But I wasn't very impressed with what I saw from the spring game
So defense.
as far as the offensive line was concerned. I would have liked to see them be a little bit more competitive. Now, that's not if we're looking at how it was last season, or last year's spring game. We had a whole bunch of offensive linemen hurt, so we weren't able to be as productive or look as good as we probably could have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting an improvement from the offensive line. So that's something that I'm kind of a little wary of.
I think that we have to, like you said, the offensive line, but there's an elephant in the room, Kendall. The elephant in the room that we're not addressing is the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
There were, I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. There's some frustration amongst the alumni as far as our offensive play calling, and I don't know how much hands-on Coach Robinson is with the play calling on offense. But I think if your offensive coordinator is not getting the job done, Kendall, throughout this season, at what point in the year are you moving? Are you moving on? You cut your ties. Because I'm gonna say, me personally, I'm giving him about 4 games. You got 4 games to get it right because this your second year with Demetrius. You got enough experience. This is pretty much relatively the same offense minus Jeremiah. Am I missing something?
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you as far as the same offense. I would say, yeah. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 games. Because I think that this is a team. If I'm not mistaken, I would believe this is a team that thinks that they can compete. I would believe that this is a team that does not want to stay stagnant. I feel like improvement on the offensive line, on the offensive side of the ball, is necessary in order for this team to be successful. Because if not, then I still don't think that they're going to beat the teams at the top of the.
Damn, you was coming.
We've talked in length about the departure of Deion Sanders, but Jackson State is still there.
Mm-hmm.
There are teams that gave us a run for our money, and there are teams that beat us last year. So we're not going into the season as world beaters. And I think that we really have to lock in on the small things. We talked about discipline a lot last year. Not getting as many flags, not getting as many just shooting ourselves in the foot, not beating ourselves. We have to focus on those type of things, because if we don't, I don't see us as contenders if we continue to play the same way we played.
See, I think that in order for us to be contenders, Demetrius has to take a next step. If he can give us a season of about 15 to 17 passing touchdowns, maybe about 7 rushing touchdowns, and I think his completion percentage was about 59% this year. If you can get that to about 65, 64, is that a big ask for in your opinion? Is that a big ask, a big jump?
I mean, no, because I'm going into this saying Dee is going to have more of a healthy season. So I think one of the things that is very important as far as offensive effectiveness is having continuity in your quarterback room, having continuity in the players that you're putting out on the field in general.
Mm-hmm.
Depth is important as well. We talked a lot about our wide receiving core last year, as far as how deep they were. Different guys can make different plays. I don't necessarily know if the same is going to be true this year, but I feel like it's definitely possible. We have a lot of the same guys coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't put that past us. But I think if we're more consistent in in who we put out as our starting quarterback and who's under center every game, I think our offense will improve.
Yeah, because you can't go into this season with, oh, is it going to be Demetrius this week? Is it going to be so and so next week? That doesn't do anything for you. And I think that if them doing that is going to, it's not going to give them any. It's not, the offensive line needs consistency under the center as well. The receivers need consistency. Building that repertoire, building that chemistry with your receivers is important. And I think that I'm gonna say this, Kendall. Keyshawn Johnson have a breakout season. He's gonna have a breakout season. We saw what he did in the Match City Classic last year. He had a couple big Match City Classics within the last 2 years. But I think that he's a big body receiver. He's probably the biggest receiver that we have on the team. Good feet too.
I think he is definitely capable of having a big year. I'm a fan of him. I'm definitely a fan. I love the way that he played throughout last year. You know, he was a very consistent target for both quarterbacks last year, not just Dede and not just Miles.
He's a big play guy. We don't have many of those.
Absolutely. But I think the thing that I am a little wary about, this has nothing to do with his ability, but I feel like going into this with Chenault coming off of an injury, I feel like he's going to be the number one, the certified number one. So number ones are always going to get more attention than the rest of your number two, your number three, and so on and so forth. So I want to see how he responds to getting more attention. But I think if he can handle that well, I think he'll be fine. I think Jeremiah was his presence, despite his stature, despite anything else about him physically, his presence was it was concerning for a defense, regardless of who they played. So I feel like not having that presence is going to put more onus on Keyshawn, more onus on Levante when he comes back, more onus on Isaiah Scott. And
I just want to see those three healthy together though. Because like our receivers, we said that when the season started that they could have been a three-headed monster at that receiver position. Because like Keyshawn, big play guy. Levante can do, like I said, when he really a chance to see what he could do, but we saw snippets. That Jackson State game, he was about to go off. I just want to say that. And we know what Jeremiah is, was.
A lot of talent. But I'm excited to see what this wide receiving core has, because I still believe that the wide receivers and the DBs are the definition of depth for this team. Now, are we going to see them produce is the question. And I think, we have 100 plus days, or about 100 days to see if that's the case. But those two are places of concern, or those two are places that I'm very happy with right now as far as depth.
Absolutely. But let's go ahead and get to these questions or comments. I'm gonna skip past some of these. You all have a bad quarterback. We don't. You got anything you want to say about that?
I don't know why you didn't start with this one.
Okay, good idea. What players you think was on the D line? Stephon Young roll.
Shout out to Steph.
Yeah, that's our dog. That's our dog.
Yeah, big fan.
As of right now, he's the main guy for me. I haven't seen enough of anybody else to really give y'all a name. But yeah, I like Stephon a lot. He's quick, he's big, strong. I think he's gonna do some damage. Now he's also probably gonna be the guy, like he was talking about Keyshawn. He's gonna get the attention from the offensive line now. He's gonna be the guy they're gonna lean on. So we're gonna see how he's gonna deal with that. But as long as Bubba's on the defense, I ain't too much. I ain't worried about nothing.
I will say one of the things that I've really enjoyed about seeing in every incarnation of these football teams has been the D-line, like, consistency. They're, regardless of how effective necessarily the pressure has been on a game-to-game basis.
Consistent, I would say.
You said what?
I would say consistent.
Yeah, regardless of how consistent, I feel like they do show a lot of signs of getting pressure. They can pressure a quarterback when they need to, And I think they're an integral part as far as how successful our defense has been, regardless of who's playing the individual positions. I think as a whole, they do a great job at getting pressure, but also getting penetration on run plays as well.
But I think that our D tackles are going to be what's going to make or break this defense. Honestly, I don't think that Brandon Gaddy. Shout out to him for going to the Steelers. That's Kendall's team, but I don't think he consistently got that push in the middle to for one stop the run, but for two put pressure on the quarterback to get our DBs enough time.
Yeah, I mean, I like Brandon. I mean, I think he's a great a pretty
Nelson
good player.
Jordan too. Sorry,
You said what?
Nelson Jordan too. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Nelson Jordan as well. I think he's a pretty good player. Andrew Ogletree is another one we're missing, or we're going to miss. I think it's up to the defensive line that we have. You got some guys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is Kelvin Stokes, is he still coming back?
As far as I know.
Yeah, so I think we're going to depend on a lot of guys to kind of fill in those positions and see what they got. I mean, I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Looking at our defensive line, we have some young guys. We definitely have some young guys. But I think we have a little bit of a mix where you've seen how productive a defensive line can be. Some of the guys that have been here the last couple of years. So I feel like we can bounce back on that side.
Absolutely. Definitely. We're always realistic. Not gonna click that. What did this say? Definitely needs to improve on snapping the ball. Center. Yeah, center definitely. We had some big issues at the center at the wrong time. I would say. The offensive line as a whole just needs work, and I think that it was interesting, Kendall, when I was talking with Coach Robinson back in March. One of the things that he had his big emphasis on was special teams.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the offensive line. I think that's understood. I don't think that's the first thing that comes to his mind anymore because he knows that's a part of the team. He said the special teams and getting your star players to buy in to playing special teams. He said that's why you saw Keenan and Isaac playing special teams last year, because if you look at it, he said in the NFL, you're not going to be drafted. The first place they're not going to put you is at your main position. Mm-hmm. They're going to put you, on special teams to see if you work your way up. So I think that's the biggest thing, emphasis for him.
But yeah, special teams can make or break you.
Mm-hmm.
That's with any team.
You don't notice until it happens, so it goes bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, special teams can make or break you. And to be honest, in his defense, we were put in a lot of bad positions because of bad special teams play. Whether that was missed kicks, whether that was fumble snaps, whether that was missing assignments and letting guys break for a whole lot of yardage. Our special teams was not where they needed to be. They weren't as consistent as they should have been. And because of that, we suffered a lot, especially when you don't have a very productive offense. You need to have a good kicking game.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have guys that can consistently put the ball in between the goalposts. And if you don't have that, it's going to show even more. And I feel like that's something that we definitely struggle with. So I'm looking forward to seeing better play from them as far as that's concerned. But I'm glad that that's a place of concern, because I mean, it was a lot during the season.
Yeah. No, Didi's a great athlete, but no, he's not going to go play receiver. I'm not answering that.
Oh, you just clicking through. I see what you're.
Yeah. I'm trying to avoid, who's.
That's a good one.
Appreciate that, Kendall.
Mm-hmm.
No, Bubba didn't play defense. Didn't play special teams. I'm sorry. Michael Victor he was underrated last year because once he jumped in for Natron Culpepper at corner last year, he made a big impact, and he was a starter for the rest of the season.
And I mean, that's saying something, especially because you have Keenan Isaac on that other side. Like, for him to really make an impact and for him to really show out, that gives me all the confidence in the world in him, coming up. So I'm excited to see how he plays.
Absolutely. Having a good QB coach should help all the QBs. I don't. That's the thing. I don't know if we have a good QB coach. It's his first year. You got anything to say about that? I'm kind of up in the air about what our whole quarterback offense coordinator situation.
I mean, I really don't know the QB coach that well. I don't really know him at all, if I'm gonna be honest. But uh, I'm guessing we didn't have a QB coach last year, or if we did,
One thing I will say is, you can have all the great coaching in the world and and stuff in front of you, but if you don't want it for yourself, if you're not great if you're not gonna go out in the summer and put the work in and really, get in the lab, because getting that chemistry with your receivers means everything.
oh yeah, definitely.
You have to be able to. There's going to be times in the game when your receiver is going to go off his route, and you got to know, okay, this is what he's doing, or vice versa. Demetrius is gonna scramble out to the left. He'll come back across the field and throw it his way. You got to be on the same page.
It
Sometimes,
makes a lot bigger of a difference than I think people give it credit for. Just because you have
absolutely,
talent in both positions does not mean that it's going to result in good wins or in production.
got to be on the same page. Let me see this. He has a capability, but I don't know that we're gonna feature him like that consistently. I should say. I don't think he's gonna get 20 carries a game or nothing like that. What do you think, Kendall?
I would. I think he can.
I would
Um, yeah, because one of the things that we talked about with Jawan was opportunity. I think that was a big thing with us that we talked about a lot, especially you. You were a very big fan of Jawan as far as him being uh
power.
yeah, a power running back, but also I think you called him or also I think it was like he was a wasted resource. Like you weren't utilizing his abilities as much because you did have Jacory and because you did have Sanso done as well. You didn't utilize him as much as you could have, and I feel like he should get more exposure because those two guys are gone. I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna run their running back room right now, but I feel like Jawan should definitely be a highlight for them, and I feel like if he's given the opportunity, he can definitely get the yardage, but I feel like it's more likely that he gets 1K in running and in the pass game. Like I feel like it's more possible that he gets him in both than all of them in the running game.
Kendall, maybe you want to do a film breakdown on him one day. If he has any film, Dragonfly. I know it's not your name, but it's just your name on here. If you wouldn't mind sending any of y'all, if y'all have any film on any recruits, players you want to be broken down, send it in. Send it in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be more than welcome, and I think those type of things could help all of us, be a little bit more in tune because as much as we might try, we're not gonna know everybody. We're not gonna know everybody's play styles.
And
And
Lord
how they
knows, stars don't matter.
yeah, at this point, definitely. It's all about what you do on the field.
But one thing I do want to say, Kendall, when you brought this up, as far as like you didn't know how the running back room was going to look.
Mhm.
If we learned anything from Jackson State this past year, who was the ultimate SWAT champion, you got to have one main guy. You can have the other guys behind them to bring it every now and then, but you got to have one guy that you can just know I can give it to him at any time in the game, and he's going to get me those 3 or 4 yards. It's not about hitting a home run every time. It's about sometimes you need just move me forward. Especially in this offense, how we struggle, we go stagnant. Like we just go absolutely stagnant with no scoring. We can't even complete passes sometimes.
A lot of just 3 and outs. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just 3 and outs. Like it's 3 and outs. Like we're 3rd and 1. No, we're going back. We pick up a 10-yard gain and then it's a penalty. We're having 4th and longs type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as much as consistency in the quarterback room is important, I think consistency in the running back room is also important. like you said, you need somebody that you can really count on and that you know is going to produce when you need them to. I think a lot of it's great to have talent in that room, but it's probably more important to have somebody that you know you can count on, and then you disperse that talent out within the rest of the reps.
Exactly. Ken, do you mind going to Bama State Sports and pulling up our football schedule and presenting it on here? If you want mind for this next question. I'm gonna answer the other one before I do this. Do you think we'll be a running team or a pass first team? I think you got to be a running team first, personally. But based on the fact that Jawan is a power back and Demetrius is a dual threat, I think that's the only way you can be.
That's all I've ever seen at State since I've been here. Being the run first team.
They got to get creative with the running though. It's not creative enough.
Yeah. That's another thing that I really hope that they fix. Just because you're successful in one play doesn't mean that you have to run the same exact play and expect the same exact results.
Because we did that multiple times last year.
Especially on broken plays too. Because one of the things that we really like to do is the jailbird or the jailbreak screens from the wide receiver. Those are not always going to be wins. So running them back to back with the doubles on both sides is kind of like, you're basically saying, okay, we did it worked the first time. We know it's going to work.
What game was that, Kendall? That was Jack State, wasn't it? That he ran that same.
We did a good amount. We did a good amount of games.
That's when I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that's when Demetrius got hurt. They put Miles in the game, and they threw the same play to Jeremiah 3 plays in a row, and then I think they did it on 4th down as well.
But that's also because it's a jailbreak screen. It's also putting you at risk for losing yardage as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a simple okay. It's not like a simple we're running a slant and it's going out of it's incomplete or something like that. No, like this is consistently like you're potentially putting yourself at risk for losing yardage. But I do have the schedule up. Yeah, I got you.
Let's see. This question up. You think you ready for a prediction?
I don't know yet, man. I feel like I need to do some more research on these teams first. Just because for the simple fact that we start out the gate with teams that we really haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember us playing Southern. Like I don't remember what that last game was like. The last time we played Southern. So,
2020.
Yeah. So I mean, we have Southern. We started out with Southern first game of the season. We saw a couple of games of them. They weren't bad. I mean, like they're definitely competition.
They were in the SWAC championships past year.
Exactly. So, we got Miles. I don't care what anybody says about Miles College. I don't care what anybody says about Miles College.
This is dogs.
They always give us a run for our money, regardless of who's on the team, regardless of what's going on. They always give us a run for our money. FAMU, we talked about them enough. They're comp.
They speak for themselves.
Coach Willie Simmons is doing his thing with that team. I mean, they're always comp. They came in our building and they beat us handedly. Well, at least convincingly. I think as far as X's and O's. So
both teams played terrible.
That's a team we got to get back. You can take on Alcorn and Bethune and Jackson. I kind of want to see what you have to say about that.
Bethune, I think that can be I say win.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the fact that Kendall, that's homecoming for one. That's homecoming. So you got to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Alcorn, I don't know. They have we know what their running back did in the SWAC last year. I think he had a 246-yard game, something like that, something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's at home. We play really well at home. We play really well
too.
So I don't know. Y'all know I want to be biased here. Y'all know as a Bama State, me being big Bama State, I'm very biased when it comes to this team. I'm gonna be realistic. over this stretch right here, I can see us going 2-1. I got a victory over Alcorn. I got a victory over Bethune, and I got us losing to Jackson State. Did you hear me, Kendall?
Yeah, I heard you. Losing to Jackson. Okay. A victory over Bethune, you said?
Yeah, if I don't, Jackson State fans, let me know. This is the last time I'm ever asked y'all a question. But is that do we play y'all as y'all's homecoming? Are we y'all's homecoming? If we are, that stadium's gonna be rocking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're ready for that with this team because we're still relatively young on offense.
I feel like once we start getting, because this is by this point in the season, we know what type of team we have. I don't feel like that's necessarily the case right now. So when I see how they play these first 3 games, I'll be able to have a better understanding of how we're going to play Jackson State, A&M, and Grambling.
Hey, Kendall, matter of fact, go back up to Alcorn. Hey, this for UG. We win about 50.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's at the crib, too?
Yeah.
Hall of Fame? That's at the crib. That's at the crib.
Some practical food, man. I almost forgot.
Yeah, that's at the crib.
Okay, so we still got A&M on there.
Yeah,
Kendall, that's a A&M game is a whole other episode. That's a whole other episode, y'all. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Make sure we get our research and our facts together. I think we can win again.
I think so too. I think one of the things that's very important about this schedule that's a little bit different than last year's schedule. We have like a lot of big games. Like
every week is tough.
Yeah, we have like big classic type games, like Magic City Classic, then the Port City Classic right after that. You know these two, and these are literally a week apart. You know these two games are gonna be comp regardless. A&M, it's always close with us in A&M. And then we go to Grambling.
Miles Crawley was waiting on us.
We got Miles Crawley coming. Yeah, bro. That's gonna be comp. That's gonna be comp. So I think we definitely got to be ready for those games.
Y'all gonna have to give us a minute on a record prediction. I don't know because
this is hard. This
is hard.
Yeah, bro. This is not easy. This is not easy at all.
Tuskegee.
I think this is harder than last year. I'm not gonna lie to you. Actually,
yeah. I mean, I must go out a limb right now. 6-5 again. 6-5 again.
Trying to put more faith in them. Golly.
That first game is gonna tell us a lot. Playing the defending SWAC West champion.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, bro, that's tough. I'm gonna have to see how we play. Like how practices are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Before I can really, the closer we get to the season, I feel like I'll have one. But right now, I don't have anything.
Hey, Kendall, this is bold. 8-3 is bold.
8-3. Sheesh.
That means you got us beat Jackson State and A&M in back-to-back weeks. Probably. But that Kendall, that beginning of the season is hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would not be surprised. Kendall, you don't call me crazy. I would not be shocked if we start the season 1-2 or 0-3.
I think I definitely think that could be a possibility. One thing that I'm very interested to see is, are we going to, and this may work into our advantage, I don't know, but are we going to play to the level of our competition like how we did last year? Whoever it was, whether it was Prairie View, whether it was UAPB, we looked past them. I don't know why or how, but we looked past them basically. And because we did that, we struggled a lot. Like, we struggled a lot to the point where you're looking at some of these teams and you're like, we're not supposed to be in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But we are. Like, literally fourth quarter, last crunch time, last 2 minutes, and we're either down or we're on that, like, trajectory. So I feel like I want to see this team more than anything else. I want to see this team match the level of play, but also play up, not play down, because we do that a lot. I want us to play up.
Kendall, look at this comment. Miles is a great football team, y'all.
Hey, you gotta see the games,
Yeah.
If you see the games, Miles gives us the work. That's just us being honest.
And they're an in-state opponent, and some depending on some of these guys might have played together in high school. It's a very familiar opponent.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's no joke. And yes, Southern. Yes,
Southern is that's one thing. They were just a bad coach. I mean, they had bad decisions.
That's one thing I'm not doing this time. I'm not putting anything past anybody, especially at the beginning of the season. That's when the upsets happen. That's when all of that type of stuff happens. So I'm definitely not putting that past anybody.
Yeah, if he think we're gonna go back and forth with him about this, yeah. Yes, that's the thing. They take us serious because we're an in-state rival. Think about this, Kendall. Miles is not going to play Auburn. He's not going to play Alabama. Not going to play UAB. We next best thing.
They be up. They are always up for that game, regardless of what the record is, regardless of who we got on the team. They are always up for that game.
Miles plays flat is playing D1.
Grambling by 40. Dang, yard talk. Dang.
That's crazy. Kendall, what you think about this? I agree. Depending on what the offense plays.
We just talked about having a tough schedule. Tough schedules for newly coached type teams, never an easy thing. So I think our preparation is going to be everything going into this season, because we're already going to have some stuff against us. So 0-3 is a possibility. All of these are possibilities at this point. 0-3 is a possibility. 3-0 is a possibility. I'm not putting anything past us. But our preparation off-season wise is going to tell the tale of these first couple games, I think. How we respond to adversity, how good our offense is, how good our defense is our special teams improved? All of those things, I think, play a part in off-season preparation.
Should have been 7-4 last season. Should have been 8-3. Should have been one loss. Really,
this is loss against UCLA. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
running the spike table. Got you.
It is. I will say that and Kendall, I don't even think this is just us. I think all around the SWAC is going to be. This might be the best year of SWAC football we've ever seen as far as competition wise.
I mean, I think it's like fresh. It feels fresh
because the powerhouse is gone.
Not even that though. I would just say like the competition that we're playing, it feels fresher, at least. And I'm speaking strictly from our schedule because I can't really talk about everybody else's because I don't know everybody else's. But our schedule just feels fresh. It feels different, and I like that because it's like not only are you playing different teams, but you're also playing them in different classics. It's interesting. I like it.
Make sure y'all share this stream, like, comment, subscribe, follow Twitter at Wildcards, okay? Donate to the Cash App, too. We want to give y'all better content. We can't do that with our work study paychecks, unfortunately.
We're accepting all donations to the Broke Negro Fund. All donations. Absolutely.
Hey, no pennies too small, no dollars too tall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a Southern comment. I ain't never heard that one before.
I can't put it on top of my head, bro.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
We would love to meet you for sure.
Have to link up. Have to.
It's who said that.
Hey man, I'm just being honest, bro. Just being honest.
Any other comments before we wrap up?
Yeah, man. We had a great time with y'all so far. Great time with y'all.
We want to get these views back up, though. Back to, oh my God, they came in kind of quick, man. Bubba's a star for Bubba and Adrian are stars for sure. For sure. I don't know what's the quotation marks around that.
Bubba has been. If Bubba's healthy, Bubba's great. My only concern with Bubba is availability, and Bubba showed me a lot last season. Availability. If he's available, he's great.
Play
No
through
worries
injury.
about that. Exactly. Adrian's a playmaker. A playmaker if I've ever seen one. He's young. He got a lot of growing to do, and that's saying something because he was unrecognizable as a freshman. If you would have told me he was a freshman, and I didn't see him play, I would never know. So he's big. Kashawn, we talked about him earlier, or Key Johnson, we talked about him earlier, bro. He's as long as he's able to handle a lot more attention on the offensive side of the ball, I think he's fine. And Dee, he has a year under his belt. He knows kind of the system.
He's had some off-season surgery.
As long as he's healthy, I think he can definitely take that jump that we were talking about earlier.
Combo episode?
Question mark?
We'll see y'all there. That'd be great.
Oh man.
Hopefully we can get the Sting stage.
What's wrong, bro? You got a Twitch or something? What's going on?
Nah, I'll just, I know some people,
All right, bro. You better start twitching before your face gets stuck like that, bro.
Relax. Just when your home games are good. Home games
Always important. Got to protect home turf.
Kendall, do you know this answer? I think he transferred. I want to say.
Did he?
I think he Aubrey transferred to Auburn, and then walked on and made the team. Our old field goal kicker,
Aubrey Grace.
Yeah.
Dang.
It was either him or Jaden. I can't remember. But we did recruit and pick up I think it was a 3 or 4 star kicker, field goal kicker, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but yeah, but just because he was in the spring game don't mean he stayed.
Arshad was in the spring game, wasn't
he? Yeah, so was Ja'Cory.
Yeah. Tragic.
Yeah. Okay, Grace left. He went to Auburn. Okay.
Dang. I had a class with him. Cool people.
Yeah.
Y'all got anything else for us?
I know we're going to be back to talk about some hoops very soon.
Oh, yeah, because about a couple minutes, my Heat want to sweep the Celtics. So, I got to be in tune for that.
Almost talking about the playoffs.
Oh, all right. I was about to say, I hope you ain't got nothing to say.
I don't like it. Make sure y'all tune into the SWAC baseball tournament tomorrow. It's going to be some great baseball going on. We're going to win.
Where's it on, bro? Tell the people where it's on.
Yeah, we're going to win that.
Nah, tell the people where to find it.
We don't do promos, free promos. No.
If you want the people to watch the game, you gotta at least tell them where they can watch it at.
SWAC Digital Network. Go to YouTube and type in the SWAC, and it will be live streamed on there. On that note.
Hey, we gotta go see.
No Lakers slanders tolerated, G.
Bro, Cancun finals. Lakers versus Celtics. I'm excited for it, bro. Can't wait.
How many offensive linemen do we? I don't think we lost any. No, we lost Tito.
Yeah, Tito. Tito, definitely.
Yeah. I don't care about the offensive linemen leaving. They can go. Don't care, really.
Dang, bro.
Sorry. As long as we got my boy Ray.
We still got McLeod, Austin, Curry. We'll get that info to y'all. We want to make sure that we giving y'all the right numbers with that type of stuff. So,
all right.
On that note,
yeah,
Cancun on 3.
That's exactly what I'm about to go to. We appreciate y'all tuning into this episode. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow the Instagram and Twitter Wildcard2K. We'll be more active on there. Follow me and Kendall on our personal socials. I don't know where they went, but it is okay. There we go. Thank you, Kendall. On our personal socials, Donate to the Cash App if you can. Make sure y'all are blessed. Enjoy your playoffs. Have a safe evening. Kendall, any last words?
We love y'all, man. Thanks for joining us today.
We back.